Tucker Carlson is out at Fox News. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. What I will say, though, is while I'm very glad that the person that was arguably responsible for some of the largest, driving some of the most amounts of death threats and violent threats,
pause
not
it for a
just to my
second for
office,
me,
but to plenty of people across the country.
Can you pause it, Dilly? Okay. Before we, I'm gonna go step by step with this, little authoritarian. First of all, notice the evil smile. She's happy. She's happy. She thinks she won, right? How dumb. First of all, the dumb hurts. I'm going to tell you why the dumb hurts in just a second. She's not the sharpest tack in the drawer. Let's just say that. But she thinks she won. She thinks he's been thrown off. He's been silenced. And she thinks that her and her Matrix buddies won, right? Censorship, get him off, deplatformed, you're ruined. You're never going to have an audience like that again. What a joke. What a joke. Regardless, you notice that she's happy. She's glad. She's got the little... kind of looks like a little evil, honestly, behind the eyes. Just saying. She talks about death threats initially. Obviously, she wants to blame Tucker Carlson. So in other words, if some crazy person listens to Tucker Carlson and decides to make a death threat to AOC's office, that's on Tucker Carlson, according to her. So I wonder if AOC gets on television and says something, and someone who supports AOC then goes and makes a death threat to me or to someone else, is that AOC's fault? I'm pretty sure that she would have a different set of rules for herself. It has nothing to do with Tucker Carlson, honey, if somebody else decides to take his words, twist them, and act on them. That is that person's right actions, responsibility, consequence. It has nothing to do with Tucker, love. Nothing to do with Tucker. It's nice that you tried to blame him, but you wouldn't want it's flipped over and blamed on you, right? You wouldn't want this game played on you. Let's keep playing.
I also kind of feel like I'm like waiting for the cutscene at the end of a Marvel movie after all the credits have rolled, and then you see like the villain's like hand reemerge out to grip over like the end of a building or something. But deplatforming works, and it is important, and there you go. Okay. Good things can happen.
Okay.
Tucker.
I can't. So first of all, her instincts are right. She calls him a villain. Why is he a villain to the people like this, by the way? Because he's a threat, right? He's a threat. And we're going to talk about just a couple of tweets that came out. Apparently someone from the Pentagon had a problem with Tucker Carlson because they said, oh, he's going after the military. He's not going after the military, doll. First of all, folks from the Pentagon, put your names down if you're so courageous. I love the military establishment now. It's not your granddaddy's military. Let's just say that. The military industrial complex is embedded with pharma. It's embedded with the WEF. It's embedded with WHO. It's embedded with the Matrix. It is the Matrix. It is the Matrix, which is why I would never tell somebody now, I would never tell my son, anyone to go into the military because it's completely and utterly corrupted. Completely and utterly corrupted. But somebody from the Pentagon was like, oh, yeah, he's ripping on the military. He was not ripping on the military. He just had questions. He didn't want us to be involved in repeated, endless wars, endless military involvement. To what end and for what purpose and for what American interests? But nobody's allowed to ask those questions anymore. Nobody's allowed to. No, of course not, because it threatens the military-industrial complex's goals. So people like AOC are mad. They're very mad because Tucker Carlson had the audacity to think for himself. He wasn't bowing to big pharma. He was asking questions. He wasn't bowing to any politician. He was asking questions. And I remember when a lot of the election stuff happened, he was very honest about it. He was like, I don't see what you're saying. He brought people on. He challenged them. He asked tough questions. He wasn't taking a side. He was trying to figure out what was going on. They don't like that. You can't have free-thinking people because they are an enemy of the system. The system will take them out, or they'll try to take them out. Now, what's interesting to me is she knows. AOC is smart enough to know that if Tucker decides he still wants a media presence, he's coming back big and bold, right? That's what she says. Oh, his hand, in the Marvel movies, which she's talking about at the end. You think it's over, the credits roll, and it's like, somebody's there. If Tucker Carlson wants to have a media career, he's going to have it. He doesn't need anybody. We talked about that the other day. Where she is mistaken is that she thinks that somehow he's going to be at a disadvantage because he doesn't have the Fox audience. If anything, somebody like Tucker is going to flourish bigger and better away from that because he's going to have the cuffs off, honey. He's going to be saying what needs to be said, and he is somebody that has an audience that will follow him. Not everybody can do that from cable news. In fact, the vast majority of them can't. Tucker is somebody who can do that. What I think is really interesting about her, though, And she's a menace. She's a fundamental menace to society with her communist garbage. But what I think is really interesting is that she comes out and outright says deplatforming works. So they're not being shy. Okay, and this actually branches out from AOC, because whether you're talking about big tech, whatever you're talking about, this idea of censorship and deplatforming, they're not being shy about their agenda. They want people, not only people with differing views, shut down, but people who are asking questions, just asking questions like, hey, what's going on here? They can't have it, because you know what? It makes people in the audience think. And somebody asked me today, I put a tweet out, something to the effect of, let me see if I can pull it up. I put, oh yeah, here it is. Why does it always take me? You know, Twitter, I have to say, when I open my phone, sometimes you're not user-friendly. I'm just saying. I said, remember that corporate media will temporarily hurt their bottom line if it means solidifying subservience to the Matrix's agenda. The answer to the WEF, the WHO, pharma, and authoritarian insiders, not to their audience. So, and somebody wrote me back and said, why would they hurt their bottom line? That's very simple. Because everyone's saying, oh, you know, the stocks and the shareholders and everything, you know, fell. And I don't know how much money it was that was lost already by, you know, since Tucker's exit. People say, why would they do it? Why would they do it? Because this is not just about Tucker. Right? This is about, first of all, there's a larger agenda here. They need subservience to the regime. They need subservience to, you know, if pharma's got a talking point, that's got to be respected. They need people in those chairs with these microphones who will obey, who will follow the rules, who will have, you know, a certain amount of freedom to speak their mind, but don't touch the untouchable topics. They need someone who's going to get in line and stay in line. And so by doing something like this, does it not send a message to everyone at that network, at least, stay in line or else, right? People, oh my God, well, I don't want to lose my job. Let me just do what I need to do. And most people will. They'll just parrot and puppet, and they don't care about really getting to the issues. Come on now. Most people who are talking heads are just talking heads, right? That's it. That's where it ends. Talking heads, getting a paycheck. That's the reality of most people. Not all. There are exceptions always, but a lot of them, that's what it's about. So it sends a message, and it also enables the powers that be, right? What is the message to the Klaus Schwab? What is the message to the Anthony Fauci? What is the message to the powers that be? Is that our corporation will not allow for someone who asks these questions and steps out of line. So that's very, very important and very, very indicative. That's much more important than how much money they're making today. Plus, let me just say this, and this is not about Fox. This is about all, you know, corporate media. They expect you to keep the TV on, okay? They expect that you will just allow that TV to stay on anyway, droning on in the background while you do everything, and it won't affect their ratings. They expect that you will be so embedded, so first of all, addicted to tech and addicted to your routine that you won't let it go, that you won't just say, I'm not watching this garbage anymore. That's what they count on. So the assumption is that they'll stick somebody else in that slot and it won't matter. And let me also say this as a general rule. When a host gets fired because they're too much of a free thinker and they, you know, have been pushing the envelope too much and they've been button heads with editorial meetings in the building, and the person who is hired to fill that seat is always a puppet, okay? Always, I promise you. If the reason for a fire is that somebody's not playing by the rules, and by the rules I mean you're not, you know, a parrot, essentially, the person who replaces them will be somebody who will get in line, who will stay in line, who will follow whatever corporate says. Oh, don't touch this. Okay, you know, one of those little do-gooders, you know, every time. So I'm curious to see who takes the seat. Regardless, AOC is very comfortable shutting you down. You're out there, you got a channel. I don't care how many subs you have. You disagree with her, shut you down. You will be labeled bigoted. You will be labeled dangerous. You will be labeled a threat to democracy. You will be labeled misinformation. You will be labeled hazardous because you have a different opinion, because you dare to ask questions, because you dare to say, I disagree with the establishment, whether that's the World Health Organization, the WEF, Big Pharma, the Democrat Party establishment, the Republican Party establishment, or whatnot. Free-thinking people are the enemy of the matrix. You remember that. And AOC knows that. She's trying to shut you down. And she's not shy. She's got the cute little smile and the cute little hee. Oh, deplatforming works. Honey, it's not 1980. Deplatforming doesn't work anymore, babe. It doesn't work anymore because what happens is people like me get deplatformed and they go start their own show, right? And then they make more money and they get better offers and they get better deals and they reach more people than they did before. So, sorry, joke's on you. If you like the short clip and want to watch the full episode, click here. And if you want to connect with me one-on-one on Connect, you're going to click right here. Let's get to talking.